Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. So, how are you
How
guys
are you
doing?
doing?
How are you, May? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. How about you, Cal?
Yes, I'm also fine. So, maybe we
Are you?
should introduce ourselves first.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so, hi, everyone. My name is Kalisa, and
Hi, everyone. My name is May.
we are both from fashion design major.
Yeah, and today we are the MC.
Yes. So, you guys, before we start, first of all, please change your name according to the format like before. And today, we have several people accompanying us for this session. First, we have Pak Wince Eskom MM as our campus director for business at Senayan campus. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning everyone. Hi.
Good
And
morning.
next,
And next we have Ibu Andini Kosasi, SEBA from Community Development Center as the Teach for Indonesia manager. Good morning, Ibu.
is she here? Okay, so let's moving on. We also have some representatives from NGOs. First up, we have Kak Jensi. Kak Jensi Sartin is from UNDP, I'm sorry. Good morning, Kak.
Good morning, Kalisa.
Yes,
And
also May.
next we have Kak Nino Riandia from USAID. Good morning, Kak.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and next also we have Kak Feli Pakisa. She is from WWF Indonesia. Good morning, Kak.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, and welcome also to Venus University International. So everyone, before we start, let us start today's session with a prayer. I will be leading the prayer with the Catholic belief, but please do pray with your own beliefs. So let us pray in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for your blessings that we can all gather here about to start our FYP session. Please do lead us and guide us so that this session can run smoothly and hopefully we can learn something today. Thank you, God. Thank you very much. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. So, May?
Yeah, guys. So I believe that you all know what is our topic for today's session. So for our today's session, it's about social awareness. So do you know what social awareness is? So now I'm going to give like a brief definition of social awareness. So social awareness is the ability to take the perspective of and empathize with others from diverse backgrounds and cultures to understand social and ethnic norms for behavior and to recognize family, school, and communities resources and supports. Social awareness serves people to realize that human beings are social beings, harmonizing social life, getting to know people's status and root problems. So after a short brief definition of social awareness, I hope that you all like kind of understand what it is about. Yeah.
Thank you, May, for the explanation. So, I'd like to remind you all again to always open your camera, and don't forget to mute your microphone. And now we will hear a mini speech by our campus director, Mr. Winche. Hi, sir.
Yes, hi, hello.
Hi, good morning.
Morning
Yes,
everyone.
please, the spotlight is all yours.
Yeah, okay, morning everyone. It's very nice to have you all here for our social awareness session. I think first of all, I'd like to say thank you and welcome all our speakers for today, and thank you for your willingness to help and support us with this social awareness program. I'd like to highlight Miss Jancy Sartin from UNDP. Uh, yes, thank you for helping us, Miss Jancy. You here, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Jess, yeah. Okay, thank you for helping us. And the second, I think I like to say it from USA, from Nino Rianditya Putra.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yes, thank you, Mas sudah bantuin, and thank you very much for helping us with this social awareness event. We are very happy to have you all here, and we also have
Pleasure.
Felipa Kisa from Wwe of Indonesia. Ms. Felipa, thank you very much for helping us, and I think uh, uh, this is always our pleasure to put our students a very good awareness with the social things. So we know most of our students in Venus International come from middle to high family. We believe that it's very important to build the awareness when you are in university time. So one day when you graduate, you know what to do. You have the awareness about the situation around you. But one important people that I need to introduce, Diaz, are you here? Diaz, can I have Diaz here? Diaz, Mr. Diaz, are you here? Or maybe, yeah, okay. Maybe later Diaz will join you and say something. I think in Binus International we have Pak Diaz. Pak Diaz is helping me from the TFI and supporting me related to the social activities for Binus International. So this event is very important because we want you to understand, we want all the students to understand how to build a good social project, how to start a social project, or how to link with some of our partners from the NGO partners, especially some that we have here, some already we also have some other partners that to help students with the social project, with the social activities. And all students remember that during your 4 years, actually during your 3 years with us, we required you to have at least 30 hours of social activities. So that 30 hours social activities are mandatory for you because you're not gonna you cannot go for your thesis process unless you have those 30 hours of social activities. So we are very happy to have our partners here. They will remind you, let you know, tell you, explain to you, and maybe encourage you what is the best way how to make an impactful activities and event. I think I saw Diaz already here.
Halo Pak.
Yes, please Diaz, introduce yourself. You are
Okay.
the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I am Diaz, as a representative from Teach for Indonesia at Binus at Senayan. Also here, there is Ibu Andini Kosasi as our manager from Teach for Indonesia, and Mr. Henry Kurniawan Kasim. Please say hi, Bu Andini and Mr. Henry.
Hello, everybody.
Okay,
I'm Henry.
Henry is
Bu
from
Andini.
campus, right? And Henry, yes.
Yes.
Bu Andini? Yeah.
Hi,
Yes.
everyone.
Yeah, this is Bu Andini. So, our office in 204 in Binus at Senayan campus, GWC campus. If we are already full work from office, you can meet us in that room, and also you can email us in tfi.senayan@binus.edu for regarding social hours or social project and anything else. Thank you, Pak Wince.
Yes, thank you, Diaz. So students, after this event, we are waiting for your ideas, your movement, or your social activities, or whatever you want to do, you wish to do, and some movement that you want to do. We saw a lot of your senior suggesting, promoting, creating a lot of great activities, and it's a great movement. So we are waiting for that one. So you can contact Diaz in 204 or Henry. So without further ado, I think I'm very happy and welcoming all our speakers today. I believe today is going to be a great session, a great information, a great activity. So we believe it can build your awareness related to the social activities. Okay. Thank you very much and enjoy the session. I give it back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pak Wincher, for your wonderful speech, and also Kak Diaz for the information about the Teach for Indonesia. So before we go straight to our first speaker today, I just wanted to inform you that if you have any questions that is related to our today's topic, you can just drop it in the chat box below, guys. And then after that, we will be having the Q&A session, and then we will answer all of your questions. So now let's welcome Kak Jensi from UNDP. So a short background about him. So he received Master of Science at James Cook University, and he used to be the Komodo Marine Protected Area Coordinator for WWF in 2017. Also fisheries management and policy expert, and now Kak Jensi is the National Project Coordinator for Global Sustainable Supply Chains for Marine Commodities at UNDP. So Kak Jensi, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you so much, May. So again, thank you, Mr. Wincher and the BINUS team, or usually call it BINUSian, yeah. BINUSian team for having me today and be one of your speaker in this great. I think this is really great, and honestly, this is my first time join this kind of session with university. And sorry, Pak Winche, I think I didn't really do my homework. That I just learned that BINUS also have this Teach for Indonesia program. So I think this is really great example for our university. So maybe you hear from the background that my background is a little bit about marine, and today we also have Felipa, yeah. So she will speak from the side of marine. But today my talking is more related to one of the issue when we are working with community, which is the topic of my session today. It's called. Let me put it in this full screen slideshow. So this is my topic about empowering community to improve policy making. So we always love to working with community, and I learned from my more than a decade working with community. I learned that policy making or dealing with policy is one aspect that should be improved when we work with the community. And today, especially, I put down additional wording there towards sustainable development goals. Because sometimes when we're working with any social work, environmental aspect, or various development, or let's say advocacy, sometimes we try to, we wonder like, what actually the goals, or what will my work contribute to something? Will my work contribute to something? So the term of sustainable development goals really helping us and you in the future, if you work in the social work, to understand where actually you fit in this movement. So to bring to your attention, and I check in the TOR, the words already there, the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, or usually we call SDGs. So there are 17 goals. So these goals already agreed by all countries in this, at least those under the UN. So as a goal that we will achieve, that has become our target in this whole global world into 2030. So there are 17 goals, and these goals is agreed in 2015, and especially for Indonesia, we also already, our government already agreed and ratified this in our regulation since 2017. And there are 17 goals from number 1, number 2. Number 1 is about no poverty, number 2 about hunger, and etc. Until, for example, number 7, we're talking about clean energy. Number 8, we're talking about economic growth. You can see the diversity of these goals. And number 13, 14, 15, you can see it's more related to what is it, to the nature. And number 16, it's more about peace and justice. And 17, we're talking about partnership. And I want to show you the patterns of these goals. So this should be the understanding that sometimes we try, government or usually industry want to develop the economy, and having this framework will give us better understanding on how your work in social aspect, how your work in environment actually links together. So in the baseline, you will see the biosphere aspect. So the goals is categorized or clusterized here. So in the below here, you can see biosphere. So it's related to goal number 6, which is water. Number 13, which is climate. So this is related to climate change. Number 14 is related to our ocean. And number 15 is related to the forest. And then below that, we have the society aspect. This is related to hunger, fighting, going to zero hunger, and then good health and well-being, which is the issue we have now with COVID-19. And then 4, related to quality education. Number 5, which is a very big issue currently, which is gender equality. And then, of course, here, no poverty, sustainable cities, and also we're talking about having a clean energy. And on top of that, we have economy, which is talking about, having a decent work, having good economic growth, and then good industry, innovation, infrastructure, leading to no inequality, and then also responsible consumption. And how we go there is through partnership. But if you can see here, this is actually the key on this goal, that the capacity to the economy to develop, there's a border there. And the border of the economy is the society, the capacity of the society, whether the economy, the growth of the economy will impact our society in what way. And then the development of economy and also society, there is a boundary there, which is the biosphere. You cannot develop your economy, you cannot, grow so many plantations, you cannot, mine all area above the capacity of our land, above the capacity of our ocean. You cannot catch as many fish as possible beyond the capacity of our fish, our ocean. And also we cannot, exploit our nature beyond the capacity of water, for example, or population above the water capacity, and also above the climate capacity, or the capacity of the earth running well. So you can see that everything here is connected. And this is another example. I want to show you that how your work in social aspect and environmental aspect, and pushing for a better policy, better governments, better government, everything is actually interconnected. So like I said before, the poverty and human well-being is actually related to the aspect below it, which is sustainable production, consumption, equitable distribution of goods and services, and it all related to the natural aspect. So my point here is, wherever you work, you always have to check first with which goals actually my work will contribute to. Whether it's whether goal 1, goal 2, or goal 3, or goal 14, but you always find that actually everywhere you work, it's actually linked together. So your work in marine aspect, your work in education, it's actually linked together to other goals. So the question is where to begin? Of course, the answer is let's start with you. And for this, I want to share from several work I've been worked with, and also my organization also work with at the past and also currently. So this is some example where you can see these goals, the sustainable development goals, is actually linked together, and I will tie it with the issue related to policy making.
Oh.
So okay, so just a little bit inspiration and motivation for you. So you can see here that, yeah, this is a study from ODI, the Overseas Development in Organization in UK, and they found that based on about 300 studies and activities, they found that community work really bring a very good outcome for young people, either for personal development, either for participation outcomes, and also wider development outcomes. So from personal aspect, for example, it increase your self-confidence and also resilience. And the second part is very interesting for me because it's also related to your ability to able to communicate, improve your communication skill and also technical skill, because you work directly with the community, you work directly with the issue, whether it's in the land, in the climate, in the education, and in the health issue. You will have ability to communicate the issue in much more clearer, more what is the word, like the layman language, not like, not really like complicated language. And also in terms of participation, so there are a lot of finding that the work with increase of work, quantity of work with the community, it also increased awareness of the young people to participate in more wider development issue. And of course, the impact itself is to the development of the community and also to some policy changes. So this is my first example. So you can see a lot of fish. I will not talking especially about the fish or the crab here, but because Felipa will touch that aspect. But I will just want to show you how actually our specific work on specific issue actually lead to policy making. So the picture here you saw here is fishers, and you can see some women here. They are working on what we call rajungan. Rajungan is one type of crab in that live usually they are mostly distributed in our marine area. Actually, this blue, it's called blue swimming crab, or in local name called rajungan. So our market share to the US for this product actually 60%. So let's say 6 out of 10 blue swimming crab you found in US market actually come from Indonesia, and especially come from this island, Madura. So this rajungan or blue swimming crab actually catch by small, we call it small fisher, small scale fisher. So they use this kind of small boats, and they use what we call trap. So this trap holding here by the Ibu or the woman here. So what we work with them is, because this is a very high traded exporting commodities, but you can see that the life of the fisher or coastal community there is not really reflecting the high traded or this export commodity. Most of them still live in, relatively in and below the poverty line. So our work there is working with them to establish a fisheries business unit, which is something that I think it's really related to what maybe some of your study, one of your course or your subject in the university, understanding how to develop an organization, how to having a better accounting record, things like that, and how to understand regulation. So we help them to establish that mechanism, and also helping them doing the data recording. So because they get so much this kind of crap, and they never really record it. And the problem is the US market or export market always want to know where these products comes from, whether it's come from illegal fishing practices, whether it's come from equipment that destruct the coral reef, for example, or damage the ecosystem, things like that. So we support the fishers to do that, and also a lot of the women working in the industry. So basically, they do all the research. We train them how to do the data collection. We support them with doing the analysis, which is quite takes sometimes actually, because even to use the computer and using some small graphs, things like that. But what we found is in the process they're able to provide data. Sometimes a lot of data that usually we think that this is more scientific data, usually only can only be collected by scientists. But now the women can also do that. Then they even also able to create this mechanism. So there is a regulation by the government that say that you cannot catch crab below this certain size, for example 10 centimeter. You can only catch above that size, above 10 centimeter. And also you cannot catch any crab, female crab, that actually have eggs, egg-bearing crab. So what they do is they create a crab apartment. So this is like apartment. So if they catch the crab with the egg, they will put the crab inside the apartment, and they can release it. They can take the crab after it release the crab. Sorry, the egg. So, and then I think what more interesting is after having this cycle of management, able to do data recording, better organization, now they're able to ask the government to say, we want to do co-management. We also want to be part of the management because we are in the community, we know our community, and we are more having more advantages and also more able to offer, to monitor our area, and also, telling our neighbor if they do something and comply with the regulation. So now they're able to become, become part of the management, just because we train them how to do data collection, helping them setting up organization. And of course, if you're talking about if you want to work with this community, you don't have to be there in 3 years, but you can work in some part or contribute in one part of their process. The next one I want to show you is our previous work working with forest community in Kalimantan, in Borneo, in central, especially in West Kalimantan. So we all know that Kalimantan or Borneo is really, famous for its natural resources, for two things actually, forest and mineral or mining, to be precise. So we're working with this community. So this is the other community, Dayak community. I worked with them around in 2008, 2016. So the issue they have there is this other community actually, our constitution actually provide protection to the rights on the forest. But the challenge is they don't have the capacity to basically prove whether this land, whether this forest area is part of their traditional rights. So what happened is there are many mining company, for example, for aluminum, bauxite, that basically taking their forest. And if you go deep to the regulation, basically it's because upper level of regulation. So what we do is we are helping them to do the mapping. So and the problem that time is we have to really like working in the huge forest and do manual mapping. So one of the initiative we brought that with the local university actually that time is using drone to do the mapping. So that time drone is not really very popular like today. Yeah, that time is only some people are able to do this drone things, and not really recreational like during like now. Yeah, so we're helping them to do the mapping. And actually the people itself, this one from a local young community there. So they do their own mapping. So we go and then we helping them for this activity, for example, the exercise, I don't know, we maybe already lost about 5 to 6 drones because, you know, sometimes the signal is gone. So we make a new drone, etc., things like that. And after we have the information, we're helping them to do this map below. So if you check this map below, it's actually an overlap between the actual drone mapping and the actual image from drone mapping, and also it's not really clear here, but you can so there is a red lines. It's actually line of where actually the mining concessions, where is the mining license. And if you see, so the inside here area in the right corner actually the mining area, and you can see the impact actually affecting far more than the licensing area. And we'll never see this if we're not doing this drone mapping. So this is actually the second, the 1, 2, 3, the fourth picture here, whether you can see a lot of happy equipment there. This area used to be a lake where the women above usually come here to do the fish, to do fishing, and you know the fish they you know it's become like for daily consumption, and also they sell it to the market, you know, for additional livelihood. And now it turns to be like this. It's really heavily polluted now. So we tell them this is the situation, and now I believe in 2017 the issue has been brought to the government, and also that time our anti-corruption commission actually join hand with this community to clear the location, and also asking for compensation for the community. So just from teaching them how to use drone, and then assisting them who have to do some analysis with GIS analysis, the global geographic informational system. So just very small one. And we have several meetings. During the participatory meeting like this, we train them about all the regulation, which is sometimes things you get from university, like you understand about the law, about this undang-undang, about this minister regulation, and also one example here that I think is also very analyzing revenue. So our community, and to be honest, sometimes we ourselves sometimes didn't really understand how actually the money works in our government. Like when we have this mining in our forest license, forest activity next to my next door, where the money goes to, and then or maybe it goes to the central government, and the central government transfer it to my local government, and my local government create a program to my area, for example. But we never really know. So we teach them to understand how the regulation works, how what we call APBD, the government budgeting system, teach them how about the freedom of information, how the community able to access information, make them understand their rights. This is also really important, and helping them to advocate for their rights. And actually, one of the community went to Jakarta that time when the industry challenged the mineral and coal law that time, and they testify in front of the constitutional constitutional court. They explain the impact of the regulation to their community. And this is my last example. This is more related to the ecosystem, beautiful coral reef, things like that. And we know our coral reef is it's threatened right now with this climate change, a lot of destructive fishing, overfishing. So here we're working with community, for example, here in Bali. So this is funny story that actually many people or fishers in Bali didn't know how to swim. And if you read local newspaper in Bali, you will see sometimes there is a news about fisher drone. Fisher, they don't know how to swim. And that's why one of the reasons we find why their awareness to the ocean is relatively low, because they never really see what's underwater. So what we did is very simple, because that time we're working with a local university. We say, you guys can do, can swim, right? And you can also do scuba dive. How about you guys help us to teach the fisher to swim first? This is more for safety issue. Just teach them, help them to swim. And the second one, help them to teach them to scuba dive. So we work with this university, a lot of young students like you, and do the full training, how to swim, etc. like that. And after that, we train them, going down to the scuba, using scuba dive, and then do some diving here, and then now they can see like, oh, this is the fish I usually catch. Oh, this is the situation underwater. And I explain to them, this is what we call coral. This is what we call coral reef, and this is that coral, this is that coral, and show them directly like, oh, this is where if the coral is bad, in bad condition, there is no fish there. Now they can see. And if the coral is good, there are a lot of fish there. So from this, then we explain to them about the biology of underwaters, understand about coral reef, understanding about connection between fish and coral reef, understanding how to protect coral reef. And then they say, okay, actually we can do protection and we can manage our coral reef. Maybe we can create a mechanism. So we explain to them the concept of fish bank, like a bank. So basically, in the bank, you put money in the bank and then you take the interest, right? So we also teach them with the local university, we teach them about this concept, fish bank. Basically, you protect, let's say you have this piece of area, marine area. So let's say we protect a third of them into what we call fish bank. So no one can go to this area. No one can go to fish. So the area, fish inside of the area, can grow, have more, small, baby fish, and then they can bigger and bigger. So they are, repopulated there. So fisher, what they can do, they can catch fish outside of this protected area, outside of the fish bank, and they really understand that concept of okay. So we are not going to take our money, our capital, or our fish, but we will take the interest. So fish that swim out to outside area of the protected area. So after several months and actually years work with them, they now able to asking for the government to increase the size of the protected area. They're able to explain it because we already piloted the idea in one small area and it works. Now we want to expand it into much larger area, and then that time, of course, we help them again to develop the organization. They even have the social media now, train them to explain to. Because in Bali, for example, there are a lot of tourists build a beautiful website, and then helping them with flyer, etc. Various work that, to be honest, we got it from our university life, right? How to do the design, how to run organization, and then how to arrange a meeting, things like that. So my point here is working with community. I will say it's not really hard because we already have all the skills we got in our time in university. Do the mapping, do the writing, building profile, things like that for communication product. If of course today with this digital movement and development, this is what we need, and we see that the young people is the bridge for our community to the current development. And because we see that, for example, our last work in NTT in East Nusa Tenggara, we are working with the community there on how to protect manta ray, the big mountain. Always the problem is they feel like isolated, not really believe like whether the the tourists will come here if we protect this area. Let's say we stop catching manta rays, or whether someone will come to see the manta, and we can get revenue. So by helping them building website, providing good communication product, now they're able to do much better. So to close my presentation, well, again, where to begin? Let's start with you, which is really back to like, what is your strength? What is you're really passionate with? And then what skills actually you have? And then you, again, look back to the sustainable development goals, see there which goal you want to contribute with, and then find the organization, for example, that working on the issue that you are passionate with. And most of the project I explained before, it's actually working with some organization, and especially, for example, with us in UNDP, we also have internship program. We really love to, if you one or many of you want to join in, just check our website. You can go there and check if there is an internship opening. And it's actually paid, so it's not just free like that. So it's paid internship means that your transportation and your time there will also be valued. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kak Jensi, for the wonderful presentation. Hopefully the freshmen are enlightened and encouraged to start now, to realize the importance of nature, especially from our water resources. That's right. So again, guys, if you have any questions for Kak Jensi or for the other speakers later, you can always drop your questions in the chat box, and we will answer all of your questions later in the Q&A session. So let's get to the next speaker, shall we? We will listen to a presentation by Kanino from the USAID. He will present about work in community development. Before I will state few of his background. He is a graduate from Jayabaya University. He is also the grants manager in Institute of International Education, and also he is a member of the board of directors in Red Nose Foundation. So, Kanino, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Good day, everyone. It's really exciting to be able to talk in front of such a large audience so early in the morning. I'm so glad that I've had my coffee this morning. So thank you, Mas Jensi, for a very intriguing presentation. I was personally shocked by the fact that fishermen in Bali could not swim. I mean, I kind of figured that being a fisherman and being able to swim actually have to go hand in hand, right? Okay. So thank you for everyone over at Venus International, Mr. Winche, the MCs, of course, for the invitation and the opportunity to share what little experience we, the speakers, might have in development work, which of course, we're very hopeful that by sharing our experiences, we will help to spark or trigger that urge within the participants here today to take their own part and do something for the community that we are all a part of. To start off, let me get my presentation here. Okay. I would like to reintroduce myself just to give a little bit of background to what I do as a development worker and just a general understanding of why I do it. Okay, so my name is Nino Rianditya Putra. You all can call me Nino. I have been working in the development sector for close to 15 years, which would actually give you all somewhat of an idea about my age. So working in the development sector, I'm fortunate enough to have worked all across Indonesia, from the eastern part to the western part. be able to travel the world and be able to receive free education trainings and be able to work alongside the global community in creating impactful community development programs, which I'm sure that Mas Jensi and Mbak Kisa will echo that this is an upside of doing the work that we do. Although I work mainly for the nonprofits, but I'm also a firm believer that the private sectors or profit-oriented companies will also benefit from having social investments delivered through sound community development program. I love volunteering in social events ever since I was in secondary school, which actually have somewhat of a history to it. I started taking part in social events after I got into a fight at school. So after I got into a fight at school, I was sent to do community hours as a punishment, where I have to work with community kitchens, where I work to feed the homeless. But because of this, it kind of sparked that love for me for development work, and I started coming back doing social work even after my community hours are served. So don't copy the getting into fight thing, but maybe starting to work with community events will also trigger that little bit of spark that you all might have to work in development sector. I am a certified project management development professional, and I am also an alumni for the Portland State University Emerging Leaders Program. And I have been influenced by many, many great minds during my working experience with the development sector. Today, I'd like to share a little bit of work that I'm doing currently. One is my work with the Red Nose Foundation. And the second is with the USAID project, JAPRI, or Jadi Pengusaha Mandiri, translated to become an independent entrepreneur. Okay, so the Red Nose Foundation. Now to talk a little bit more in detail about the Red Nose Foundation, or for short RNF, where I have the honor to serve as a member of its board of directors. This is a very fun organization to work with. It is a local NGO, which has been around for, I would probably say, more than 10 years, close to 12, 13 years. And it focuses on providing support in education, formal or informal, for underprivileged children in Greater Jakarta. To be specific, in the slum areas of North Jakarta and South Jakarta, where you guys probably know that poverty and other social issues are of abundance there. So what makes the Red Nose Foundation a fun organization to work with? It's always important to put fun in work, because if you're having fun at work, you don't really feel like working. Red Nose is a fun organization because it has such a unique approach in engaging and teaching discipline and motivation for the children it engages, which is, we use circus and arts. We understand that the children that RNF is assisting is in a great deal of pressure from their neighborhood, their schools, and even their peers because of their economic condition and the things that they cannot own. So the Red Nose Foundation came with a mission. We have to give them something that they can own and eventually brag about to their friends, which is circus skills. Now I'm talking about circus skills like juggling, acrobats, theatrics, clowning. And because of this, as they learn, as they get better, as they're able to perform new circus tricks, they began to take pride in their own capacity to try something new. Because learning circus skills is not easy. And I assure you that you are eligible to brag about it when you can do it. nicely. So through circus and as a basis, we then try to have the children to apply this in their school life. So from this, the discipline of doing tricks like juggling, where the ball falls and you have to pick it up again and try again. It teaches perseverance and discipline of doing the same thing over and over again to get things right, and how to interact with others with respect, because in circus, when you're performing, you work in a team and you have to really work together, and you know each other's roles so that bad things won't happen. Like you can see in the picture here, the kids are juggling swords and torches, which is pretty dangerous if you're not really involved with your team and you don't know them, and you can't put yourself on the same level as they are. Now, the Red Nose Foundation even go as far as providing full and partial scholarships for the children to be able to continue their study. We've had a couple of alumni being able to continue into higher education because of their participation with it, Red Nose. Now, to promote these positive changes for the children, of course, Red Nose Foundation cannot work alone. I'm sure that if you guys remember from Mas Jensi's presentation before, everything is connected, right? So the Red Nose Foundation is no different. So we work and we collaborate with different stakeholders in the community where the children are closest to and are with them 24 hours a day. We work with the schools, the local governments, the parents, and even individuals who are willing to volunteer and take part in providing, like we can see in the picture, tutoring classes for the kids to help them in reaching their dreams. Because of this concept and collaboration, or the collaborative nature that Red Nose Foundation is building, it has now been able to reach more than 300 children that it supports, and even having some of its alumni that is now working in Red Nose Foundation as trainers, circus trainers, arts trainers, and even mentors for the newest members of the Red Nose Foundation. So we here have a couple of example of the activities that we've done in Red Nose Foundation. This one is that we provide classes, informal classes, where we give them lessons on school subjects that they're having difficulties in. And we also provide more like private tutoring, where we give them explanations about specific school subjects more in private, so they can, feel much more benefit from it. Here we have some volunteers from, I think these are in the background, these are from Australia and from Curitiba in Italy, South America. And to further boost their confidence, because as I mentioned before, these children don't have a lot to brag about. So to increase their confidence in being able to perform, to be in front of a public, we regularly do free shows, free performance in their schools or in special events held by many other organizations. So it's amazing to see what the work the Red Nose Foundation have done, and it's a contribution in helping these children to be able to be what they want to be in the future. So that's Red Nose Foundation. And right now, I am currently working in USAID Japri. So this is the current project that I am working in. Japri, jadi pengusaha mandiri, to become an independent entrepreneur. It is a project that is funded by the United States Agency for International Development, where I have the chance to play the part of the, actually I play two parts here. I'm the project's deputy chief of party and the grants manager, and that leads the project's 5 organizations consortium. Now, Japri is what I would like to say a very lively project. It always evolves. It started out as just a concept in 2017, which focuses on promoting self-employment through entrepreneurship for poor and vulnerable youth into different different forms that increases the project's inclusivity. Like, for example, we have the after Japri is established, we have the Japri WGDP, which is the Women's Global Development Prosperity Initiative, where it is surprisingly initiated by the Trump government office, so led by his daughter, Ivanka Trump. So with the WGDP initiative, Japri expanded the once more broad engagement to youth into focusing on the empowerment of young women entrepreneurs. But it's not only that that we're trying to do in Japri WGDP. We wanted that, I'm sorry, at first we realized that the gap is with women entrepreneurs is that when they're doing productive work, handling their business, they're very often, especially in Indonesia, where the community is patriarchal, is that they are burdened by multiple other works, like domestic work. When they're doing stuff in the kitchen, cooking products for their business, they have to do it while making time to feed the kids, to clean the house, and etc. Right? In Japri WGDP, we wanted the men to share that responsibility, to be more equal, to create partnership with this women, for the women, so that the business can thrive. Like, for an example, you know, it's an easy thing to do. When the woman is cooking products for their business, the man can pitch in sweeping the floor or cleaning the house, feeding the children, right? Or if we expand that to the business level, there can even be a distribution of roles for the men and women within the business. Like, the women, for example, can take care of the production and marketing. The men can work on the delivery, right? So we don't want to replace the role between male and the men and the women in a household setting, but we want that, you know, we want that partnership to happen, because if you're trying to replace the men's role with the women in Indonesia, that would just create resistance. So in the process, we always empower both the men and the women, so that they have an understanding of the gender perspective, that men and women are equals, especially in domestic and reproductive work. So that's Japri WGDP. And soon after, about 8 months after, Japri received another, let's say, a challenge to expand its initiative to reach more on people with disabilities, because we all understand that people with disabilities are often being disregarded as capable human beings, and even even though Indonesia has proper regulations that actually arranges the accessibility, the facilities that should be in public areas or in public services for people with disabilities, it's not really being enforced. So we went ahead and we created another concept for Japri using its foundation gained over the years to a project that focuses to people with disabilities. Within Japri PWD, what we're trying to do is, before we go into entrepreneurial learning materials and also increasing their business skills and knowledge, first we have to work on their confidence, because they have lived so long being the minority of the community. We have to uplift them and be able to grow that fire within them, that hey, you're not disabled, you're able, but just different, right? So this is what we're trying to do with Japri PWD. So these are the targets and a couple of picture of the individuals that Japri has reached over the years. So I'm just going to share two of Japri's high-level goals, which is we're trying to create for Japri is 4,000 individuals with new or better businesses, and for Japri WGDP 2,750, and for Japri PWD a much lower number, it's 500. So to be honest, I don't know the names of the people here. I forgot, but this gentleman right here, he's a paraplegic. He lost the functions to both of his legs because of an accident. He lost his job because of that. But he came to us and he said that I want to do something with my life. I don't want to be a burden to my parents, to my friends. So I need to do something. So we work with him, and right now he is working in making motorcycle alarms, homemade, which he then sells to people. And it started out as being not really good, but then we introduced him to some people which are more experienced than him in creating what do you call it, the alarms. And right now he's doing really good and is beginning to reach a wider market. Other than that, he also works with local motorcycle shops to modify motorcycles into trikes. So he's also doing work that reaches close to home, which is people with physical disabilities, so that they can all remain mobile and be able to be productive as usual. And these two ladies right here, they both work as handicraft makers. So they use what do you call it, like parches and cloth to make ornaments to sell for wedding events, and even as things that you can put on your house as something good to look at. Now, how do we achieve those targets? So Japri, we try to stay away from being a project that is hit and run type. You know, do one training, say bye-bye, move on to other participants. So we try to keep everything very holistic and do it in different layers. And just like the work like we did in Red Nose Foundation, we always work with different stakeholders, because Japri itself has such a small resource and such a small team that it's not humanly possible for us to reach that high of a number by ourselves. So we translate that into a lot of our key activities that we've conducted on the field. For example, we've done 2 types of trainings for our stakeholders, which comes from the local government offices, from local business associations, from higher education institutions in the training of trainers. Now, the training of trainer is JAPRI introducing its entrepreneurship learning module for them, for the stakeholders, so that they're able to deliver it using this practicality, which focuses on practicality and also focuses on simplicity, so that the knowledge that is within the entrepreneurship module is able to be absorbed by the participants effectively. Now, the training of coach is, we also work with the same stakeholders, and we give them trainings to become business coaches, which I will explain more in detail in the slides after, so that they can conduct business coaching for individual entrepreneurs that JAPRI engages. Now, the TOT is then followed up by the entrepreneurship training and the one-day business training. So the entrepreneurship training is an activity which focuses on giving the participants with basic knowledge on the dimensions of development of entrepreneurs before going further in their training. So we give them trainings on how to build an entrepreneur mindset, how to do financial note taking, and finally, how to make an ideal business plan that they can apply in their business. And the one-day business training is another form of that entrepreneurship training. We realize that a lot of our participants are having challenges in participating in a set date in sporadic dating arrangements of time to participate in training. So we arrange the one-day business training so that we can gather a lot of these participants in one place and give them a full day training on business. So because of that, we can adhere to the constraints of time that they might have. Now, this is the business motivation workshop. So this is what we're doing in the JAPRI for people with disabilities, where we try to build well, it's all delivered in games, and not we try to stay away as much as possible from just giving them theories. So it's more on how they can practice the businesses themselves in real life. So with the business motivation workshop, we invite motivational speakers that are for an example, if we're working with PWDs, we invite motivational speakers that are also people with disabilities. So because of this, it will create that type of, hey, this person is also a disabled person, but he's able to become more established in his business. Why can't I be that, right? It creates more trust, and it builds the confidence of these the PW participants to really see that there is a role model that they can look up to, and hope that they'll be able to reach the status of afterwards. Now, this is the business coaching session. So the business coaching session is, if it's in Bahasa, it's called the sesi curhat. How do you say that in English? So it's much more personal for the participants for JAPRI, in JAPRI. business coaches conduct a one-on-one coaching session with the participants where they talk about the challenges of the constraint that they're having, or even the progress that they're having in the business that they run. And coaching sessions are usually done at a minimum of 3 sessions, where the first session is the coach and the coachee talk about the challenges and try to come up with a strategy on how to be the solution to that challenge. The second session is to see how much progress that the coachee might have after the first coaching session, and see whether they have improvements to do, or if it's good enough that they can move to the next stage. Now, the third stage, or the final stage usually, is where the coach and the coachee finally took a measure of how effective overall that the strategy that they make. But coaching sessions can go on more than 3 sessions depending on the agreement between the coach and the coachee. Business coaching for Japri has become one of its flagship activities, because this activity has become one of the activities that contributes to the largest number of our achievements. And the key to conduct a successful business coaching session is that the coach is not allowed to give out or to feed out solutions or answers to the problems that the coachees are having. So basically, the coach has to be a really good listener, acknowledge the challenge that the coaches are facing, and then try to fish out the solutions from the coachee themselves. Because we see that if the coachees are able to come up with their own solution, psychologically, it becomes theirs. They own the solution. And because they own the solution, they're going to work hard in achieving the targets from the solution that he made by himself. So it's a long process, and it's what I said before, is very personal between the coach and the coachee. Another layer of the activity that we do in Japri is the business mentoring. So the business mentoring is something that is much more specific to the business sectors that the participants are running. We invite mentors that are experienced or established business owners, so that they can share experiences to the new business actors from our participants, to the stages that they've all been through. Like for this, the participants can feel that they can relate to the mentors. Like they see that what the mentors have gone through is probably what they're going through at the moment. So because of that, they see that, oh, so I'm not facing a dead end. There's an answer to the type of challenges that I'm facing right now. So that's what we do in the business mentoring sessions. So these are the type of technical mentoring and business enhancing skills that we've conducted in Japri. So all of the mentoring sessions that we've done is designed to be able to support or supplement the skills that the participants already have. Like, for example, product photography. This is especially useful at times like this during COVID, where entrepreneurs cannot access direct market, and they have to use another channel to be able to reach that market. Hence, we use e-commerce, the social media for them to be able to sell their products. Another example is for our participants who are doing agribusiness. We've also given them mentorings on good agricultural practices. And another one that is not less important is we give them mentoring on how to legalize their businesses. So um, being legalized or certified in having businesses is something that's quite overlooked in micro to small scale businesses, because they think, hey, I'm just making my product and sell it just like that. They don't have a vision forward. So we try to give them that perspective. If your business is legalized or certified, you'd be able to reach a wider range of market. You can put your product in supermarkets, in gift shops, etc., so that more products sell, more income for you. So that's what we're trying to do within those mentoring sessions. Now, I think this is kind of a reoccurring subject when we talk about development work. Whenever we work on a program or a project, we immediately think of the exit strategy. Because if you're talking about projects, for example, like in Japri, we have to realize that we're not gonna be in the community for long. So to ensure that the development work that we do is sustained, we have to work or be connected with all of the parts of the ecosystem which is there in the community. So this is the Penta Helix model. It shows that elements like businesses or profits, the media, the community itself, it can be the individuals, it can be civil society organizations, the government, of course, as the regulators, and academia, like you guys, have to work together to achieve that sustainability and accelerate the process of gaining a development works mission. So this is the pentahelix model. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's a very simple model to follow, and this is for us in Japri is like this is the model that has to be embedded in everything that we do. Now, we translate this model in Japri into something that we call the CLA, the collaboration and adaptation. So these are a few examples of the collaboration and adaptation activities that we've done over the years. So this one is with Trenggalek. Trenggalek is a district in East Java. So there we work with the head of district to conduct Japri activities there. We work with the government offices. We gain leverage from them in being able to use their facilities, which for development workers is a good thing, since we can save a lot of resource there, being able to use the government's facilities. This is another CLA example with the government, which is in a neighboring district in Trenggalek. This is in Blitar. So Blitar has been a really good example of being the champion of being able to replicate the activities that is delivered by Japri into their own program. So they, at first, they have a lot of targets, but they just don't know what to do. So when Japri came, we sat down with the head of district and the regional planning agency to talk about activities to be done to accelerate their mission to reduce poverty in Blitar. So we start involving them in meetings, in activities, and now Blitar, through its different in government offices, like from the cooperative office and the workforce office, etc. They each have their own Japri type activities that is embedded in their own programs. Again, this is an ongoing effort to increase the potential of sustainability of Japri after it's gone. Now, this is the CLA, the collaboration and adaptation we've done with the private sector or business corporations. We also see that working with the private sector is very strategic, because when we're talking about business, with especially for micro and small scale businesses, if we teach them how to make products, we have to show them who to sell them to, right? So working with the private sector provides a portion of the solution. Like for the picture here, we work with Cargill, where we collaborated with them in increasing the productivity of egg layer farmers, so that Cargill, as a business entity, can gain more profit because the eggs that is being produced is at a much higher quality. We've also worked with financial institutions, banks, microfinances, and also other types of private sectors. The community, of course, we can't work in community development without working with the community. So when selecting stakeholders to take part in our activities on the field, we always reach out to civil society organizations that also have or share the same vision that we do, so that, again, for them to take ownership after Joffrey has left the building. Lastly, because we're working with youth also, we've been working with a lot of academias in 3 regions of Indonesia, West Java, Central Java, and East Java. And currently we have at least 3 universities that have adapted the Japri outreach model and its learning module into their own curriculum. And working with academia is strategic, because especially with the students, because after the students graduate, they can then become those agents of change, if you will, that can, you know, spread the knowledge, the skills that they've gained from Japri to other people that they might need them. So I guess that's it for me. I just, as my closing remark, I would like to say that working in the development sector is not boring. It's a lot of fun, and you can gain a lot of personal satisfaction of being able to create changes in the community. So yeah, I hope that's easy enough to follow for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kak Nino, for your amazing presentation today. And I believe that our freshmen already like get to know more about social awareness, as well as like they already get inspired by your amazing works. So next we have, yeah, thank you. So next we have Kak Kiza from WWF Indonesia. So a brief background about her. She's now currently studying marine science in Udayana University, Bali. And Kak Kiza used to participate in the Sustainable Marine Tourism Program, WWF Indonesia, in 2019. And now she's the head of Marine Bodies Indonesia by WWF Indonesia. So now please welcome Kak Kiza to the stage. Kak, the stage is yours.
Okay, so hi everyone. So glad to see everyone in here. First of all, I would like to congratulate and welcome every single freshman in here. You guys are about to enter a whole new chapter in life, and hopefully being a student here will unlock all your potentials and open your mind to new challenges. I'm so happy to be here because I also get to listen to Mas Jensi and Mas Nino. I'm glad that we share a few things in common when it comes to our work field, which are social education, youth community, marine conservation, marine protected areas, and many more. But not to worry, I think I think our materials are not overlapping. I'm going to talk more about youth participation and engagement in nature conservation. Well, mostly about the marine ecosystem. So before I start, I would like to reintroduce myself. My name is Felipa Kisa. You can call me Kisa for short. I was born and raised in Jakarta, and I'm also a student just like you guys. As the MC said before, I'm currently studying marine science as my major in Udayana University in Bali, class of 2015. So I've been staying in Bali for 5 years now. I am a scuba diver. So yeah, I can speak for Mas Jensi. The life underwater is indeed beautiful. I definitely recommend all of you guys to try scuba diving and get your diving license because it is worth it. I'm here to represent Marine Buddies from Wwe of Indonesia. I'm here to share our knowledge and experience as an environmental community organization. Okay, now I am about to share my screen. Hold up. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to talk about what youth can do for the environment. What can we do for the environment? For now, I'm going to talk first about my community, Marine Buddies. So what is Marine Buddies? Okay, Marine Buddies. Marine Buddies is a youth community or organization that was initiated and supervised by Wwe of Indonesia. Hence the name. Marine Buddies is focusing on raising awareness and educating Indonesian youth about marine and conservation related issues through our campaigns. Up until today, Marine Buddies has spread across 10 cities in Indonesia. We are available in Medan, Jakarta, Surabaya, Denpasar, Makassar, Banda Aceh, Tangerang, Semarang, Yogyakarta, Malang, and soon to be more. Okay, the next one, I am going to talk about the background of this community. So I'm going to talk about why Marine Buddies was formed. So there are two main reasons why Marine Buddies was formed in the first place. And I think this is going to be a little storytelling session from me. So I'm sorry if this might take a little bit of your time, but here we go. So the first one, the first reason why Marine Buddies was formed is to educate the community about shark conservation. So the first 5 cities incorporated in Marine Buddies are Medan, Jakarta, Surabaya, Denpasar, and Makassar. So what do these 5 cities have in common? Turns out, based on a research conducted by Wwe of Indonesia, they are the center of shark tradings in Indonesia. They have the biggest number of catch, trading, and consumption throughout Indonesia. So these cities, they have international ports and airports which granted access for the distribution of the sharks. And this has made the 5 cities very prone to illegal wildlife trade. When it comes to illegal trade, I'm referring to Indonesian regulations which have included a few shark species that are considered protected, such as the hammerhead sharks, the oceanic white-tip sharks, thresher sharks, mako sharks, whale sharks, and a couple more. Another trivia, there are a lot of ways a shark can be sold as a product in the market. So if you see the international market for shark products, you can see the shark to be sold as, the meat, and then the frozen fins, the dried bones, and even the live ones. How do I know this? So actually back in 2018, for my internship program, I was assigned to work in a task force in the Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Fisheries of Indonesia. So this task force, their job is to make sure that the shark products that are going to be exported, they don't come from the protected species. So what I did every day was we verify every single shipment to make sure that none of the shark products come from the protected species. I'm sorry if this went a little out of the topic, but I was just so excited and eager to share this with you guys. Okay, so that was the first reason why Marine Buddies was formed. So it's about shark conservation. We want to educate, we want to raise awareness to others that shark are not only the top predator, but we also need sharks for the balance of our marine ecosystem. So that's why we need to preserve their population in nature. Moving on to the next reason why Marine Buddies was formed. So other than shark tradings, Marine Buddies also has a specific mission to hold campaigns about marine protected areas, which is closely related to marine tourism. So if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, Indonesia is the #1 country with the biggest marine biodiversity on the planet. We also have so many marine protected areas all over the country. So these areas, they often attract tourists from all over the world to enjoy the beautiful scenery of our oceans. Countless people from all over the planet travel here to have a little taste of what we see almost every day. Like yes, right? But unfortunately, people often took it for granted. The tourists, they tend to only think about having fun out there without thinking about the impacts they are bringing to our oceans. Therefore, Marine Buddies have made a few codes of conduct on how to be a responsible tourist. These codes of conduct and be very, very careful when swimming near the coral reefs because they are fragile and it takes decades for them to grow back. So yeah, that's the overall reasons why Marine Buddies was formed in the first place. Our job now is a little bit all over the place, but we still strive to educate the youth community on the importance of preserving the environment, especially our oceans. Okay, now, why us youth? Why choosing youth as our volunteers? So here in Marine Buddies, our main target audience is the youth community. So we want to reach as much youth as possible that we can educate, empower, and encourage. Let me put this out for you. We are all part of the youth community. So what is so special about us youth? What is so interesting about youth? So the youth is considered as the backbone of any nation. Youth in our generation have the power to make a difference, to be part of the change that the society needs. As you can see, I have put a few of my personal favorite youth that we can look up to. So we have Malala and Greta. They both campaign for what they are passionate about. They dare to speak up. They both have the courage and the will to speak up and act up for what they truly believe in. They care enough to demand a better change. And what I love the most about them is that they're both still so young, and yet they are so powerful enough to create a movement that is very empowering to the people all over the globe. And I think that is what we all should look up to. It is our time now to speak up. It is our time now to rise up. And hopefully we can all be the next Malala and Greta. I think we are very fortunate to be represented by them as a youth community. Okay, the next one, I might have forgot to put this in my presentation, but I am going to tell you a little about what we do in Marine Buddies. So, as a youth organization, Marine Buddies, we do a lot of activities that focus on our engagement with the youth community. We host a lot of talk shows or seminars or open talk sessions on various topics. The topics consist of, Chinese conservation shark conservation on Chinese New Year, and then waste management, the danger of plastic waste, sea turtle conservation, illegal wildlife trade, marine tourism, and so many more. And then we do cleanups on the beach. We do underwater cleanups, and even cleanups in the mangrove forest. We also did a cleanup on car-free days on a few cities. And then we also arranged visits to marine protected areas. We did screenings of a few environment-related movies or documentaries. And also we have an annual event that started in 2019. It's called Youth Summer Camp. This is where we call out Indonesian youth from all over the country to learn together more about ocean conservation. So Youth Summer Camp provides the knowledge and skills that you need to participate directly for the ocean conservation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of what we did at last year's event hosted in Bali. We had sessions where we talked about marine protected areas, plastic-free ocean programs at Wwe of Indonesia. We also trained the participants on how to handle a stranded marine mammal with theories and simulations. We also made the participants to have a little taste of what field activity is like in our work every day. We did mangrove planting, we released baby sea turtles, and also we did coral transplantations. Sadly, because of the pandemic, we are not able to host this year's event. But hopefully, if everything cools down by the end of the year, we might be able to host the next youth summer camp in Bali. So this event is open for public, and it's a very fun way to learn more about ocean conservation. You definitely don't want to miss it, but okay, I'm looking forward to seeing any one of you in our upcoming events. Okay, the next thing is what youth can do. What can we do? So I think this is the big question of my session. So I've tried to break down everything we can do as the youth community, and I tried to simplify my answers to these points. Hopefully this can be helpful for those of you who want to participate or be part of the change. So the first one is self-awareness. So we have more access to technology and information compared to the older generation. In our daily lives, we are exposed to countless information. We can see everything that's been happening all over the globe, and we are completely aware of what's happening around us, including the state of our planet. We know how damaged our planet is. I mean, every day we see news about deforestation, climate change, coral bleaching, species extinction, habitat loss, rising temperature, melting ice in the Arctic, and many more. So these are the things we should be more aware of. These are the things we should speak up about. Like I said before, being aware is the first key to contribute to the environment. Number 2, educate yourself. Do your research, people. Come on, read the news, look up for articles or journals even. Now that we have become a part of a more civilized community, just like the first point, we now have more access to every information. It doesn't hurt to improve your knowledge on certain topics. In this case, I'm talking about environmental related issues. So the easiest way for me to trick myself into reading more is to find a topic or issue that you are passionate about. It can be about almost anything. For starters, mine are ocean-related issues, especially the ones about sharks. Because I love sharks, I tend to browse or read more about them. I get more and more curious about the topic every day. Probably I'm now obsessed, but it's fine. I think it is more fun to dig deeper about the topics that you are interested in. That is one way that you can educate yourself more. Number three, influencing others. I mean, the term of being influencer must have been, planted on your mind for a while now. So influencing others is strongly related to the previous point, which is information. When it comes to being an influencer for others, you don't want to spread false information, obviously. So that's why it is crucial for us to gather as much information as we can. Influencing others can be done in various platforms. Starting small is a perfect way for you to manifest your efforts into influencing others. You can start from your closest friends, your family, and even your followers on social media. When it comes to being an influencer, the highlight is I think you should empower and encourage others first. And then you can keep spreading your positive vibes while addressing the message you're trying to put out to the world. Number four, campaign. So there are various ways you can participate or even initiate a campaign. As I said before, you can always start by campaigning about the topic of your own interest. Other than that, you are more than welcome to take part in any environmental related issues. So doing a campaign is also a way of you can contribute where you can speak up and share your peace of mind with others. A campaign is not always supposed to be shown as a form of a field activity such as long march, beach or river cleanups, hosting a talk show or seminar, etc. Campaigns can also be done virtually. Especially during times like this, you can always participate in a campaign by signing up for a webinar or online classes, or simply by speaking up in your preferred platforms to raise awareness to others. Number five, switching to a more sustainable lifestyle. So personally, I do think that this specific point might be the hardest one to practice because it is very closely related to our daily life. So a sustainable lifestyle focuses on your attempts at reducing any damages to the environment, such as cutting your carbon footprint and switching to any reusable products to minimize waste. When it comes to reducing your carbon footprints, you can do as simple as switching to public transportation rather than using your private ones. That is also, I think it's a big step on reducing your carbon footprints. And then switching off your electricities when it's not being used, it's also a way of reducing your carbon footprint. Buying things from your local shops, it also reduces your carbon footprint. And there are so many more. Reusable products. I mean, I think you've all seen, the campaigns or people talking about, reusable products, living sustainable. Those are the things that you can do to switch to a more sustainable lifestyle. And then you can always look this up on the internet. There are so much things that you can do when it comes to living a sustainable lifestyle. Moving on to the next one, number six, being a smart consumer. Okay, being a smart consumer is the key to a sustainable lifestyle. In our daily routines, we often pose as consumers. The things that we buy or consume, they come from limited natural resources. And as consumers, we have the privilege to pick what we can consume. For example, we consume plastic bags almost every day. We consume single-use plastics every day. We have the privilege to choose not to do that. We have the privilege to, we can ask not to, we can ask for the shop owners, the staffs, not to give us plastic bags. Instead, we can just bring our, our shopping bags, and then, not using any more plastic bags. It's as simple as that when it comes to being a smart consumer. I think for further information about this point, you should definitely look up the 12th SDGs. It's called the Responsible Consumption and Production. I think it's very informative. Or in Wwe of Indonesia, we have a campaign. It's called Beli Yang Baik. You can definitely look them up on the internet later today. And then number 7, being a responsible tourist. Okay, so I think our generation values experience more than anything. So that's why we prefer to spend our time and money to treat ourselves to travel everywhere rather than, buying souvenirs from all over the world. So while traveling, there are certain things you can do on how to be a responsible tourist. As I said before, on the introduction to marine buddies, while visiting a beach, we shouldn't be leaving any trash behind. We shouldn't be touching or agitating any organisms that we found, keeping a safe distance from animals or the wildlife that we found, and choosing an accommodation that practices their efforts into practicing a sustainable and responsible marine tourism. That is a way that you can participate to be a responsible tourist. In Wwe of Indonesia, we also have a program. It's called Signing Blue, where you can see how being a responsible tourist is all about. It's not only about tourists. It's about tourism in general, but it's worth looking up to. And then the last one is volunteering. So for me, this last step is probably the most fun way to contribute to the environment. By volunteering or joining an environmental related organization, you get to engage with other youth with the same goals and passion. So these days, you can find so many organizations that focus on the environment, one of them being Green Buddies. By taking your part in an organization, you can practice all the other points I described earlier. And if I'm not mistaken, the freshmen at BINUS, you are supposed to do a community service for a certain amount of time. And I think by doing all these steps, you can count them in. Trust me, being an advocate for nature, it has its perks, and it's also fun. It doesn't feel like an obligation anymore to me. Instead, it becomes an activity that I enjoy. And hopefully you'll gradually be drawn into it and you can continue speaking up about the concerns of our environment. Okay, before I close my sessions, someone in the chat room gave a question, so it's actually a little reminder for me. You might wonder on how you can join Wwe of Indonesia. I'm so glad that I get to see these kind of questions. You can definitely join us by participating in our communities. So Wwe of Indonesia, they have 2 branches of youth communities. The first one, we have Earth Hour Indonesia. They have a great global movement. It's called the Switch Off movement. You might have heard of it before. They encourage people worldwide to turn off any lights and electricity for an hour. The point of the movement is to give our planet a little break, even though this movement only lasts for an hour, but turns out the impact is pretty significant. In 2018, I just Googled it earlier, so Jakarta saved 249 millions of rupiah, and the electricity use is reduced to 169 megawatts, all in 1 hour of switching off. Earth Hour is available in more than 30 cities in Indonesia. So chances are there is an Earth Hour community based on where you're coming from. The second youth community is Marine Buddies. I have told you about Marine Buddies and what we do. We are available in 10 cities in Indonesia, but if you guys are interested in initiating a new branch of Marine Buddies in your city, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I will be very happy to guide you and assist you. Uh, so yeah, how do you participate in Wwe of Indonesia? Feel free to contact Earth Hour or Marine Buddies of your preferences. It can be your hometown, it can be where you are staying currently, and just please ask them if they have any openings ongoing. We are always excited when it comes to welcoming new volunteers. So I guess that wraps up my session. I don't know if it's less than the time assigned to me or maybe more than the time assigned for me. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for your time. I am so honored to be here and share this with you guys. Good luck on your journey, and hopefully I can see you all again next time. And I look forward to seeing every one of you to participate in devoting yourself to our planet. I will be more than happy to discuss more about this with you in the Q&A session later. Back to the MC.
Thank you, Kak Kisa. It's actually last time than we expected, but that's okay. That is very okay. And your presentation is very inspiring, and especially to realize, about our environment's condition, right? So thank you for all three wonderful speakers. Let's maybe give them a virtual applause, guys. Thank you. And we are now in the Q&A session. So May and I will be reading your questions from the chat box, and hopefully we can answer all of your questions. So the first question is for Kak Jensi, I believe. Maybe Kak Kisa can also add something. The question is, if I am interested in marine conservation, how can I get involved, especially during this pandemic?
Okay, I think maybe it's already answered by Kisa's slide number 9. Yeah, there are a lot of lists there, but maybe I can comment a little bit on there. Is of course we can always as an individual can contribute or do our part from home, but if we're speaking about helping others or other organization working on this issue, I believe starting by just browse and looking for organization working on this issue. You can just type this keyword like Ocean Conservation Indonesia, Ocean Conservation Indonesia, Marine Conservation Indonesia, or if you want to specific like, for example, I want to working on coral reef. So you just type now like coral reef conservation in Indonesia, or if you want to more specific like what Kisa mentioned about whale shark or treasure shark, marine mammal, there are various organizations in Indonesia working on this various type of species or even like ecosystem. So I think it's very very easy now to just Google. But if you want to be more like one step ahead, I think it will be a good idea if someone from Venusian can create a list of ocean conservation related organization, put them all the context there, etc. And maybe if one of your friends want to join with this cause, then they can just like click on it and check on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ka. So let's moving on to the next question, May.
Okay, so for the next question is to Kak Nino. Is this Jabrit an internship?
Okay, so absolutely. I mean, in Japanese consortium, we have 5 organizations that are working together, and we open up a lot of opportunities for internship or volunteerism with the different organizations. So if you're interested to take part, you can contact me, send your CV. I can spread the word with the other organizations and see what's going to fit you if you want to be an intern in our work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a next question. I believe this is for Kak Kisa. The community for what you have presented is more focused on ocean conservation, right? And someone asked, how about conservation in lake or river, seeing the condition in rivers and lakes in Jakarta and many other cities in Indonesia?
Okay, so when it comes to water body, as lakes, rivers, it is all connected, especially when it comes to the rivers. So the rivers, they are very closely related to the oceans. So anything that flows into the ocean, they mostly come from the rivers. So that is why we also have to be aware of, taking care of our own rivers. So we also did a few river cleanups, especially our team in Jakarta, Tangerang, and then in Banten. We did cleanups. We did a cleanup. I think our biggest river cleanup is the one in the Ciliwung River. There are, I do believe that our team found more than a ton of trash. We collected a ton of trash. There were 2 pickups involved when it comes to collecting the trash from Ciliwung. It is very important, not only, the river is not only polluted by our own garbage. I mean, there are a lot of industrial factories or, even restaurants who made this, who made the river as their sewage dumpings. So I think that is not only trashing the river, but it's also polluting in a very lethal way. So the chemicals, they tend to, they harm the environment. So that is why maybe I did not highlight the things about river and lakes conservation, but that is also crucial to the environment because, if there is an unbalanced ecosystem, I mean, everything collapses because everything is very closely related. So is that answer to the question?
Felipa. Sis?
Thank you, Kakisa, for your answer. I hope it does answer the questions from the freshmen. And I think the freshmen are very interested in joining all of the NGOs here. And I think if possible, maybe Kak Kisa, Kak Jensi, and Kak Nino can provide them the links so that they can know more about the NGOs.
Yes, for UNDP, I already shared the link for the internship, so link already there, but you can always browse like UNDP, Indonesia internship. So basically there are 2 type of, like say mechanism how to internship with UNDP. So the first one, you can just again click the link and you will see the current, so internship usually comes up together with current vacancies. So there will be like a consultant, etc., and then there will be section of internship. So usually the program in UNDP itself looking for intern, and they will list what type of intern they're looking for. That's the first mechanism. The second mechanism is basically from your initiative from your side. So you just like sending email, etc. There are guidelines how to contact UNDP for the internship program. And in general, the internship, I have to check again, but I believe it must be at least 3 months. So 3 months internship, and then yes, you will need the CV and also sort of like proposal, like why you want to do that internship, what is the benefit for you, and also of course letter from the campus or the university.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions from the freshmen before we moving on?
Okay, thank you so much, Kakak. So actually there is one question from, not really a question, they ask like if you can also put the link for the WWF too, because they are interested in that.
Yeah, I think Kak Kisa already put some of their contacts here. Right?
Okay, okay. Okay, so I think this is the end of our Q&A session for today. And now I would like to welcome Ibu Adini as the Teach for Indonesia manager from CDC. Please welcome her to the stage.
Hello, good day. The Honorable Mr. Windsor, Campus Director BINUS Senayan, Ms. Irma, Deputy Campus Director Operation and Student Development BINUS Senayan, and I would like to thank to the speakers who are willing to share experience in the field of community development. First is Mr. Jenzi Sartin from UNDP, and Mr. Nino from USAID, Japri, and Ms. Felipa from WWF Indonesia. Entering this new academic year, BINUS University hosts the FIP, First Years Program, which is series of orientation periods for new students. One of the program is a social awareness project. This activity is part of the process of introducing the campus environment and the lecture system that will be undertaken as BINUSian. Vision and Mission 2035 of BINUS University is fostering and empowering the society in building and serving the nation. TFI is a unit that is responsible for community development in BINUS and carries out fostering and empowering for the society. TFI program is based on the SDGs program. Today there are speakers who are very competent in their respective fields, starting from empowering community to improve policy making by Mr. Jensi, work in community development by Mr. Nino, and what youth can do for the environment by Ms. Felipa. From each topic, I believe that you can get understanding in making social project according to community development based on the SDGs project or target. Thanks to all the speakers for the material delivered related to community development. And for the freshmen, I hope that with the presentation materials from the speakers, you will get knowledge about community development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibu Andini, for the closing speech. And hopefully today's session may give you some inspiration to be aware of our social environment. And I think that is all, Yami, for today's session. And yeah, we hope
it is the end of our session this morning, right?
Yes, and we hope that the freshmen can learn something today. Maybe they may be inspired into joining these NGOs. And also, thank you so much for Kak Jensi, Kak Nino, and Kak Kisa for the enlightenment. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, and also thank you so much for all freshmen for paying attention, and we really appreciate your time. And like there is a gentle reminder to you all, so don't forget that we will see you again at 1 p.m. today. So please get yourself ready for that. And yes, we are so excited. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
See
thank
you.
you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, May.
Thank you.